What would you do if you found out that the person you love cheated on you for money? Today we will tell you the dramatic story of Andrea, a man who married a millionairess to become heir, but could not imagine the revenge that awaited him. Stay tuned until the end, because the final twist will leave you speechless. Not only will you discover how Andrea deceived his elderly wife, but also his incredible punishment. Before we start this story, subscribe to our channel and activate the bell so you don't miss more exciting stories like this. Thank you for your support. Andrea was a young man of 23 who hated working. Supported by his parents until they were forced to kick him out of the house, Andrea found a job in a cafe. But his monotonous life and dissatisfaction were palpable. He loved luxury but was always broke, until one day, an unexpected client changed everything. An older lady, Mrs. Lucia, showed up in the cafe with a sophisticated air and a security detail. Andrea, immediately noticing her wealth, served her an espresso with a courtesy he had never shown before. Intrigued by her potential wealth, Andrea asked her for a job opportunity, unexpectedly receiving her business card. The following day, Andrea called and got an interview. Mrs. Lucia, impressed by his determination, hired him in her sports equipment empire. Soon, Andrea decided to seduce the rich widow, imagining that his advanced age would quickly lead to his inheritance. Andrea, who hated any type of job, showed unprecedented dedication in his new job. His affability and communication skills allowed him to win 2 important clients for the company, surprising everyone, including Signora Lucia's staff. This newfound commitment sparked curiosity among his colleagues, who couldn't help but wonder what had inspired such a transformation. His excellent performance earned him an invitation to dinner with his employer at one of the best restaurants in the city. During this dinner, Andrea used every opportunity to seduce Mrs. Lucia. He showered her with compliments, told invented stories about a supposed life of sacrifice and hard work. Lucia, who had always dedicated more time to her company than to herself, found in Andrea a breath of freshness and youth that she was missing. She felt reborn next to him, reliving emotions that she thought had been lost forever. Their growing bond brought a renewed sense of joy and vitality to her life, inspiring her in ways she never imagined possible. The following weeks saw Andrea and Lucia going out together more and more often. He took her to places she didn't know, made her discover hidden corners of the city and tourist attractions that he himself had always dreamed of visiting. With his affection and attention, Andrea managed to make her fall madly in love. Lucia, feeling alive again, agreed to become his girlfriend, despite the age differences and the contrary opinion of friends and acquaintances. In your opinion, Lucia deserves a new love story with a young man? Does Andrea deserve punishment for what he is doing? Write your opinion in the comments below. Over time, Andrea managed to win the heart of Lucia, who, feeling loved and revitalized, married him. However, her happiness was short-lived when she discovered that Andrea was cheating on her and spending his money on a young lover. During one of their dates, Lucia organized a special surprise for Andrea, a romantic getaway in a luxurious penthouse in the city center. Andrea was over the moon, convinced that his plan was working perfectly. But Lucia had started to notice small details that made her suspicious. Andrea was rude to hotel staff, dismissive of others, and displayed a strange obsession with material possessions. His charm began to feel superficial, and his frequent lies about minor things only added to her growing unease. Lucia, increasingly restless, decided to hire a private investigator. The weeks that followed were filled with anguish and pain for her, but when she received the investigator's final report, her suffering turned to anger. The discovery of the truth devastated her, but instead of giving in to despair, Lucia planned her revenge. He blocked Andrea's credit cards and fired him without warning him. The young man, now accustomed to luxury, suddenly found himself without money, without work and with no way out. Andrea regularly cheated on her with a young woman and used Lucia's money to spoil his mistress. The shocked woman carefully planned her revenge. First, he blocked all of Andrea's credit cards and fired him without warning. The next morning, Andrea went to a luxury restaurant with his lover, but when it was time to pay, his card was declined. Embarrassed, he tried to call Lucia, but she didn't answer. Returning home, Andrea confronted her furiously, but Lucia reassured him that she would sort everything out the following day. Instead, Lucia went to the bank to change the will and the marriage contract, completely excluding Andrea from the inheritance. Meanwhile, the young man continued to squander money, unaware of the storm that was about to hit him. Lucia's health, however, began to deteriorate rapidly. He had been battling cancer for years, and now he knew his time was running out. Lucia, though suffering, found comfort in knowing that she would have the last word. Lucia's health, however, began to deteriorate rapidly, like a candle burning more intensely in its final moments. Despite constant pain and daily challenges, he found comfort in knowing he would have the final say. This awareness gave her an unexpected inner strength, a sense of peace and control that accompanied her in the most difficult moments. He organized the reading of the will on the day of his funeral, an event that attracted the attention of all his company's employees and shareholders. Andrea showed up dressed in black, feigning pain, but was unable to hide the absence of tears. When the will was read, the room was filled with amazement. Lucia had left her fortune to charities that cared for needy children. Andrea received nothing except a key to a safety deposit box. Convinced that it contained jewels or property titles, he immediately went to the bank. The surprise he found left him speechless. Inside the safe was only a cup of cold espresso, the same one he had served Lucia the day they met, and a note that read, "I hope the bitter taste is a lesson to you. Love, your deceased wife." Andrea immediately understood that Lucia had always known of his intentions. Broken and humiliated, he found himself without money, without a job and with a ruined reputation. No one in town wanted anything to do with him anymore, and he became a social pariah. Lucia's revenge was definitive. Andrea was left with nothing, becoming a living example of how greed and deception can destroy a life. Lucia's wisdom and cunning had triumphed, leaving a powerful message to anyone who attempts to take advantage of others. If this story has touched your heart, we invite you to watch the next video that appears on the screen. Thanks for following us, see you next time.